Welcome to our discussion on EA's recent earnings and strategic moves. EA missed its quarterly bookings estimates thanks to uncertain gamer spending, especially on its core sports portfolio, right? And there were some tough growth comparisons to that strong launch of College Football 25 last year.
Absolutely. It's a pretty interesting mix of factors. How do you think the revival of College Football 25 plays into these numbers?
Well, College Football 25, which revived a decades-long hiatus, actually drew in core fans and became one of the best sellers. It's like they reignited passion among longtime gamers. But then
Yep,
the overall uncertain market, the high console prices, and gamers sticking to their favorite franchises, that kind of threw a wrench in their overall bookings.
right. And from what I gathered, EA's net income also dipped from $294 million last year to $137 million in Q2. Do you think this is more about the market or something internal at EA?
It's probably a mix, you know? On one hand, they're battling an uncertain market where gamers are being extra careful with spending, especially with those high console prices. And on the other hand, they're in a transition period. Remember, this is their first quarter after announcing the deal to be acquired by a group of private investors, including Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, for a whopping $55 billion. So, there's a lot of uncertainty at play.
That acquisition is huge. And speaking of strategic moves, EA's shiny new launch, Battlefield 6, sold over 7 million copies in 3 days. That's remarkable, isn't it?
Absolutely. Battlefield 6 had a killer debut. It's like, EA's core action titles are really where the excitement remains. But it's interesting. They're still under pressure because while Battlefield 6 is off to a strong start, close competitor Call of Duty is facing player fatigue.
Yeah,
So,
indeed.
the long-term financial prospects become a key talking point.
Yeah, and EA has plans to keep that engagement alive by rolling out regular content updates for Battlefield 6. I mean, constant updates can really help maintain player interest in such a crowded industry. It almost feels like you're watching a TV series with new episodes each season, no?
Exactly. It's like, um, keeping the game world fresh, busy, and engaging, ensuring that players keep coming back. But there's also the added twist of their sports offerings. FC26, for example, saw bookings up by mid-single digits compared to its predecessor. Yet, despite rising numbers there, analysts suggested softer performance warnings.
Right? Because despite that growth, the sports market, while globally popular, is so competitive. And it seems like EA Sports FC is banking on that global popularity to, sustain its success in the long run.
Yeah, and that brings us to an interesting commentary from Joost van Drunen, a games professor at NYU's Stern School of Business. He pointed out that EA Sports FC's resilience should eventually lead to a second marriage between EA and FIFA, reuniting the brands under the watchful eye of its Saudi owners. It's a
Right.
fascinating prediction, but I wonder if it's too optimistic given the challenges on both ends.
I see what you're saying, and it's a bold statement for sure. I mean, reuniting with FIFA could potentially consolidate EA's sports portfolio, but wouldn't that also come with a whole lot of baggage like legacy issues and high expectations?
Exactly, that's a good point. While the idea of a second marriage is enticing, it's like reuniting old flames. It might just be a double-edged sword. It could bolster their brand equity globally, but also invite intense scrutiny and pressure to perform immediately.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, the overall bookings numbers were down by 13% to $1.82 billion, missing the Wall Street expectations. That's pretty significant.
True, missing those estimates by almost 6% certainly sends a signal to investors about the growing caution in core gaming spend. It's a bit like expecting a high tide and then getting a unexpectedly
Right.
low wave instead.
And what do you think this means for EA's future strategy? Are they going to double down on their proven franchises or try to venture into new territories?
I think it's a blend of both. They're betting heavily on their core action and sports titles, which are their bread and butter. At the same time, they need to remain innovative to keep up with fierce competition and market fluctuations. It's like they're walking a tightrope, balancing between what's proven
Yeah, that
and
sounds
what
about
could bring
right.
a new edge.
Speaking of which, the article did mention uncertain gamer spend. How much do you think that factors into the current scenario?
Oh, it's huge. Gamers are cautious these days, particularly with the premium pricing on consoles. When spending becomes uncertain, studios can see drastic swings in revenue. It's like planning a big outdoor event when the weather forecast is so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And also, with gamers sticking with proven franchises, there's little room for experimenting with cutting edge, unproven concepts, right?
Right on. The risk is too high, so EA, for instance, leans into legacy franchises like Battlefield and its sports lines because they know there's a built-in fan base and more predictable spending. Yet, that same strategy could hamper growth if the underlying market sentiment shifts too rapidly.
Yeah, you make a good point. So it's a bit of a safe play, meaning even the successful launches like Battlefield 6 are dependent on constant updates and keeping that momentum going.
Precisely. And what's captivating is that even though Battlefield 6 sold over 7 million copies in 3 days, its long-term success hinges on how EA integrates those regular content updates. It reminds me of a sports season that starts strong, but has to maintain that performance week after week, you know?
Mm-hmm, I get that. Yeah, sustaining engagement in the gaming world is no easy feat. I'm also curious about how investors are reacting to these mixed signals.
Investors are certainly weighing the strengths, like the strong start of Battlefield 6 and growth in titles like FC 26, against the backdrop of lower overall bookings and a slumping net income. It's a layered scenario. Some might see it as a temporary hiccup, a result of market uncertainty, while others might worry about
Right,
long-term
that's a fair
growth.
challenge. It definitely opens up room for varied interpretations. And with the upcoming year end period being highly competitive, I wonder if EA's focus on tried and tested franchises will really pay off in this climate.
It's a calculated risk. They're using their well-known titles as anchor points while hoping that, with constant updates, gamers will be inclined to spend more over time. But yeah, there's a high degree of uncertainty with the possibility of shifting gamer behaviors and pricing pressures.
Could be a game changer either way. And at the same time, that private acquisition could inject more strategic oversight. It might lead to a refocused vision, maybe even more bold investments in new innovative titles down the line.
Right, the infusion of capital and oversight from major investors like Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund could definitely bring some new strategies into play. But, as you said, it's a double-edged sword because heightened expectations and market pressures can create more scrutiny.
Yep. So to wrap it up, it seems EA is in a tight spot, balancing strong game launches with cautious market sentiment and financial pressure. But it will be fascinating to see how these internal and external dynamics play out in the coming months. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's like watching a high-stakes game in real time where every move could either lead to a big win or leave the fans on edge. And that really captures the essence of what's happening with EA right now.
Indeed. Thanks for this deep dive into the EA situation. It's been an engaging exploration of market dynamics, strategic pivots, and the ever changing landscape of gaming.
My pleasure. And we'll definitely keep an eye on how EA refines its strategies in light of both internal challenges and, well, the unpredictable
Yep,
gaming
exciting times
market out
ahead.
there.